Yo, what's up everyone? Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prodigy channel, and today I have another video where I'm going to be setting my lineups across my 4 fantasy football leagues. We have non-PPR, half PPR, full PPR, 1 quarterback, 2 quarterback, redraft, auction. So we got all sorts of good stuff in this video. So we're going to start by recapping the league, going over the transactions, and then setting the lineup in each league. So starting with this league right here, this is the League of Bros, 12-team league, non-PPR, 1 quarterback. This is a recap of week 4. I had the most points in the league for the second week in a row. Here's the lineup. Derrick Henry, David Montgomery, DJ Moore, and Deebo Samuel went absolutely crazy. There's a look at the benches if you want to see that. And also, before we move further in the video, I am recording this on October 7th at 1:30 p.m. So if anything changes in the news, injury-wise or anything, and I'm not talking about it, that is why. But transaction-wise here, I did add Brandon Bolden for 8 out of 200 fab points, drop Peyton Barber. I picked up the Denver Broncos defense, but then I realized I actually wanted the Vikings defense against the Detroit Lions. The Denver Broncos defense playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. I like both of those matchups, but I decided to go with the Vikings against the Lions there as my streaming defense this week. And also important to know about transactions is if we look at a little bit ago, where was it? Damian Williams. So I did add Damian Williams at one point, but then before last week, I did drop him. So that is a bad move for me because I do have David Montgomery on my team. He's going to miss a few weeks here with a knee injury. So it would be really nice to have Damian Williams. I wish I didn't drop him. I only had 26 out of 200 fab points left, so I bid it all on him and got outbid. Calvin Ridley also very recently was ruled a surprise inactive. I believe with a personal reason, a personal matter. So yeah, I hope he's doing okay. But we're without David Montgomery and Calvin Ridley this week, so we have some work to do. Luckily, I have a pretty nice bench in this league, so I put Antonio Brown in for Calvin Ridley. So I like Antonio Brown this week against Miami. I have to play Mike Davis this week. Apparently, the Jets are giving up the most fantasy points to running backs. This is a non-PPR league. Hopefully, Mike Davis can be somewhat involved, but Cordero Patterson has really been stealing the show at the running back position there in Atlanta. Last week, he only had 26 combined yards, but he did catch a receiving touchdown to save his game. He did have 13 carries, though, which is pretty nice. He had 2 targets, so hopefully he does something. But yeah, it's looking a little rough with the injuries. Other than that, I'm starting Tom Brady against Miami pretty much every week. Derrick Henry, he's an auto start. DJ Moore, same thing. Mark Andrews is my locked and loaded number 1 tight end. Not in the league, but just on my team. Who else am I going to play? I got to play Mark Andrews. And then Deebo Samuel against Arizona. Deebo's currently the 3rd receiver in fantasy. The matchup against Arizona could be a high-scoring game. Not a scary matchup, but also I like that a lot. No real tough decisions here. I'm not playing Robbie Anderson over like Antonio Brown or anything. Calvin Ridley would obviously be in my lineup. Montgomery would obviously be in my lineup over Mike Davis, but we're without those two. Mason Crosby is my kicker, and then I got the Vikings defense against the Detroit Lions, like I mentioned. Now we're going to move on to this league. This is a 10-team league. This is a redraft league, just like the previous league. This is actually half PPR, though, 2 quarterbacks. So last week we did get the win. It came down to my opponent having Mike Williams on Monday Night Football, and he only had 1.6 points. So we were able to hold on to the win. We're now 3-1 in this league. And yeah, here's the lineup. Kyler Murray had 22. James Robinson had a couple touchdowns. I picked up Chuba Hubbard for quite a bit of fab, like 60-something out of 200. He had an okay game. Davante Adams, Aaron Jones, and Travis Kelce all had, pedestrian to bad games, and we were still able to win. So that's really good to see because those were 3 of the guys I invested heavily in with a lot of my auction draft budget, and we were still able to win without them doing anything crazy. DJ Moore had an electric game. Emmanuel Sanders has been a great waiver wire pickup for me. Teddy Bridgewater did leave early in that game with a concussion, so he didn't put up a lot of points. But yeah, looking at the bench, nothing too crazy going on there. Darnell Mooney, maybe, coming up as a little bit of a sleeper. But looking at the transactions here, I wish I would have picked up Alex Collins because apparently Chris Carson might miss the game tonight on Thursday Night Football. We'll see. But looking at just specifically my team here, I did pick up Jamison Crowder, and I dropped Tim Patrick for 11 of 200 fab points. So nothing too crazy there. I like if Jamison Crowder is on your waiver wire, I think he's a very nice half PPR, really solid wide receiver 3 type of flex play. So if he's on your waiver wire, maybe that's someone you want to look out for. But now we got to set our lineups for week 5 here. So we got our locks, right? Aaron Jones, James Robinson, Devontae Adams, DJ Moore, Travis Kelce, Kyler Murray. Those are all of the locks. At my second quarterback spot, and I do have Kyler Murray in the offensive player spot because he's later in the day than noon. So you want to have your players that are later in the day in the spots that offer more flexibility in case you need to make a late change. But ultimately, I'm deciding between Jared Goff, Zach Wilson, and Teddy Bridgewater. Zach Wilson has a nice matchup against Atlanta, but he's traveling. This is a London game, I believe. And Zach Wilson, he's shown a lot of inconsistency. If you just want to look at what he's scored this year, 18.5, 2, 17.5. So it could be a good game. It's a nice matchup, but I'm just going to go with Teddy Bridgewater against the Vikings. I think it's a safe bet. The Vikings defense has been okay, not great. I could see the Lions trailing in this game and them needing to throw the ball a little bit. Maybe Jared Goff gets a garbage time touchdown or something, but I'm hoping for a touchdown or two out of Goff, and I'll be happy. I'm going to stick with Emmanuel Sanders. He's been hot the last couple of weeks. Even weeks 1 and 2, he was seeing some good targets and some air yards. Just nothing was connecting. But the last couple of weeks, 23.9 points, 10.6 points. I will more than take that out of a guy I picked up off the waiver wire. Against Kansas City, that could be a high-scoring game as well. So on Sunday night, I'm going to keep him in there. And the only other real decision to make in this league is what to do with Chuba Hubbard. As of this recording, Christian McCaffrey is questionable. Could be a game-time decision. We'll have to see what happens. But if McCaffrey is able to play, I will simply take Chuba Hubbard out of the lineup, and I will put Jamison Crowder in the flex. And actually, I would put Jamison Crowder in at the wide receiver spot and put Emmanuel Sanders in the flex because Sanders plays on Sunday night. So that's that league. Now we're going to move on to this league right here. This is another redraft 10-team league, full PPR. I think in previous videos, I said this was half PPR. This is actually full PPR. That was my mistake. But this is actually a 2-quarterback league. So we're going to recap week 4 here. We barely lost. So it came down to the Monday night game. This person had Justin Herbert, and he had just enough points to get the win. I don't think this guy's been setting his lineup all year because he's had Gus Edwards in there who hasn't played since he hasn't played all year. He didn't even play week 1, I don't think. So, yeah, he's just been in his lineup all year, and I gave this guy his first win. It's really tough. I think I have one of the most points in the league, but we're still 2-2 for some reason. Even though we had a pretty good week. Mahomes had a great week. He had 5 touchdown passes. Josh Allen had 20 points. We had Cordero Patterson put up almost 35 points with 3 touchdowns. But yeah, it just wasn't enough. It just was not enough. I could have played Jalen Hurts over Josh Allen, and we would have won. Devontae Parker, I mean, I could have played him over Tyler Lockett, but there was no way I was going to know to do that. So yeah, that we did lose that week, but things are looking up. Transaction-wise, so we are without Calvin Ridley in this league as well. So I clicked the wrong team here. Hold on. I am the Albuquerque Heisenberg. So I moved Calvin Ridley to the IR because as long as someone is out in this league, you can put him on IR. So if you can do that in your league, do that as well. But I just picked up Hunter Renfrow. He's just a nice, solid PPR play. I picked up the Vikings defense, dropped the Bengals. Vikings get the Lions, as I talked about earlier. And I had previously dropped Latavius Murray, but in week 4, he saw, 18 carries? Yeah, 18 for 59 and a touchdown. I just like that volume. Tyson Williams was not active. So if Latavius Murray is going to be the lead running back there moving forward, I want him on my team over Rondale Moore, who has shown a little bit of inconsistency. And I also picked up Damian Williams off the waiver wire, even though I don't think I'm going to play him this week. But looking at the lineup, we got Mahomes and Josh Allen. I'm sticking with those two on Sunday Night Football. They're going up against each other, although I do like Jalen Hurts. I mean, he's always going to be a good play. Trey Lance is getting the start. I like him as well, but I'm just going to stick with Mahomes and Josh Allen. Dalvin Cook is a lock. It says he's questionable. I actually haven't read about this. He was a non-participant. Well, here's what I have to say about this. If he plays, I'm playing him. If he doesn't play, I have the handcuff Alexander Madison, the backup running back of the Vikings. I'll just put him in for Dalvin Cook if Cook doesn't play. Cordero Patterson, even though I did just recently post a buy low, sell high video where I said to sell high on Cordero Patterson, I still really like him this week against the Jets. It's a good matchup. They're without Calvin Ridley, and Russell Gage, I believe, is also not making the trip. That's what I heard. So they're going to have to rely on somebody. Hopefully Mike Davis and Cordero Patterson get some work there. Tyler Lockett tonight against the Rams, even though he hasn't done much lately, Lockett is someone that he's kind of just locked into this lineup, no pun intended, because Any week he has the ability to score multiple touchdowns, put up a blow up week. And if you look at my other options, I'm not going to play like DeVante Parker over him. So Lockett is in the lineup against the Rams. Calvin Ridley, we just moved out of the lineup, and I put Antonio Brown. Actually, no, sorry. Antonio Brown was already in the lineup in this league, but I put Hunter Renfrow in for Calvin Ridley. I thought about putting DeVante Parker in there, but I just really like the security that Hunter Renfrow has offered this year, especially in a full PPR league. If you look at his targets, 9, 7, 6, 8. It's translated to 6, 5, 5, 6 receptions, a decent amount of yardage. He's had a touchdown each of the last 2 weeks. So I'm just going to roll with that. Damian Harris, he's been someone that I have not wanted to play the last couple of weeks against the Saints and the Buccaneers, but this week against the Houston Texans, I'm all about Damian Harris. I talk about him more in my buy low, sell high video as well, but this is going to be a good game script for the New England Patriots. Houston, I believe they just got beat 40-0. Was that right? Against the Buffalo Bills. And while I don't think we'll see a repeat of that, I expect the Patriots to win this game pretty handily. And even if it's a close game somehow, they should still be in a position to run the ball on the Texans. I don't think the Patriots are going to have to throw it too much. So I think Damian Harris will see some good volume. And I think we'll see production more like weeks 1 and 2 compared to weeks 3 and 4. So he's my flex. Other than that, TJ Hawkinson at tight end says he's questionable. I'll have to pick someone up if he doesn't play. There's a couple options out there I can talk about, but this is my defense, punter, kicker, head coach. We have those in this league for some reason. So, I'm not playing Mike Davis. I'm not playing Latavius or Damian Williams yet, but this is what I'm rolling with for now. Let's look at the tight end options. If TJ Hawkinson were out, I believe there's a couple options. We got Jared Cook and Dalton Schultz. I'd just pick up one of them. I'm not sure yet. I'd probably pick up Dalton Schultz just because against the Giants, I could see that being a bit of a higher scoring game. Dalton Schultz has been involved a little bit. He's definitely overproducing compared to what I think he'll do for the rest of the season, but I just like the way that he's been involved. So I'd probably go Schultz there. Now we're going to move on to the final league. So all the previous leagues were redraft. This is a dynasty league, 1 quarterback, half PPR. Last week we did lose, unfortunately. So I'm now 2-2. This is a weird league because I feel like I always have one of the best teams, one of the deepest teams, but this is only the 3rd year of this league, I think. I've never won. I usually make the playoffs or barely make the playoffs. And then, actually, no. Sometimes I don't. I don't know. You'll see the roster and you'll understand why it's kind of confusing. But even looking at this lineup here, Tom Brady, Joe Mixon, James Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, Mike Williams, DeAndre Hopkins, Chris Godwin, Calvin Ridley, George Kittle. I don't know how that lineup is 2-2, but it is. And if you look at the bench, you'll be even more confused. But here we are. We're 500 on the year. Tom Brady laid an egg for me a little bit against New England. He should have had another touchdown. Or he didn't even have a touchdown pass, but he should have had one touchdown to Antonio Brown. They almost connected. It was so close. Joe Mixon, 13.2. James Robinson got me off to a hot start on Thursday Night Football. Jonathan Taylor against the Dolphins had a nice game. But other than that, a lot of my receivers let me down, especially Mike Williams, only 1.6. Chris Godwin, 7 points. But this ultimately came down to Monday Night Football. I had a lead, but my opponent had Hubbard and Eckler. I had Mike Williams. Mike Williams had a clunker. Meanwhile, Herbert threw a touchdown to Austin Eckler. He had that stack attack. So that's ultimately what got him the win right there on Monday Night Football. Looking at the benches here. So I did not play Mike Williams the previous week, last week. I played him 2 weeks ago when he had a good game. Last week, he had a crazy game. And then I put him back in the lineup this week, but he only had 1.6. On the bench, Cortland Sutton had 6.2. What else? Mike Davis had an okay game, but yeah, there wasn't really anything too crazy. Nothing too wild there. And then we're going to recap the transactions here very quickly. Let's go to just my team here. Prodigious. So yeah, okay, so the funny thing about this league is I have dropped so many players in this league. This is a dynasty league, 30 player rosters. You would think you're never going to drop anyone good. Bro, I dropped DJ Chark years ago before he broke out. I dropped Raheem Mostert. I dropped other players too that I just can't remember right now. I dropped Dalton Schultz in the offseason. So I bid 81 out of $200 fab dollars to add him 8 days ago. Because I'm like, I do not want to repeat because he's been balling out. I do not want to have another player dropped that ends up doing good. I also dropped Mike Gesicki in this league. I dropped Jonnu Smith at one point. Those guys have been okay, especially Gesicki. And I also dropped Alex Collins, who now might be starting. I dropped him like, a while ago, but when he wasn't even really playing. And now all of a sudden, oh, he might be the starting running back for the Seattle Seahawks. So I put in an aggressive bid of $67. The next highest bid was $16, just because in this league, I do not want to have to live with another solid quality player being dropped to the waiver wire. Oh yeah, and at one point I did also drop Mike Davis, who I did end up getting back via trade, as well as with Jonnu Smith in a separate trade a while ago. But yeah, so I really made sure to get those guys back on the team. And honestly, I don't know what the status is of Chris Carson right now, but I'm probably not going to play Alex Collins in this league just because I have a lot of depth here, as you can see. But he is a viable starter if Chris Carson is out. But for this week, we are without Calvin Ridley. We lost Jerry Jeudy already. So we have some adjustments to make here. Tom Brady's in the lineup, locked and loaded. James Robinson, Joe Mixon, those guys are locked in. Joe Mixon is questionable. We can talk about what we're going to do if he doesn't play later, but Jonathan Taylor against the Ravens, I'm sticking with him in that flex spot. And then we got Chris Godwin, DeAndre Hopkins. I'm starting those guys pretty much every week. I'm going to stick with Mike Williams, even though he didn't have a great week 4. He was money. I'll even show you his box score here. He was money the previous 3 weeks. He had a down game. So, yeah, I'm just going to stick with him in the lineup. Wide receivers are inconsistent. So you just have to take your lumps. They'll have good games and bad games. So we took Calvin Ridley out. I did put Cortland Sutton back in the lineup. I hadn't been starting him for a while, but I'm starting him this week because Calvin Ridley is out. And George Kittle at tight end. So other than that, I have to pick a defense. The Bears against the Raiders or the Chargers against Cleveland. I'll probably go the Chargers against Cleveland. I might change that. And if I do change anything, guys, I will put it in a comment down below. But yeah, I don't know. Cleveland's offense, I don't expect them to give up too many points, but I also don't expect there to be too many turnovers. I also don't expect the Bears to get too many turnovers against the Raiders. So neither is really exciting, but just point total wise, I could see the Chargers kind of not giving up too many points to Cleveland and maybe getting a few sacks in there, but we'll see. George Kittle at tight end, he's listed as questionable. I'm going to play him if he plays. If he doesn't play, out of my options, Dalton Schultz, Dallas Goedert, Jonnu Smith, Blake Jarwin. I would go Dallas Goedert there. I would just go with Dallas Goedert. And if Joe Mixon doesn't end up playing, I have some guys I would consider: Miles Sanders, Mike Davis, Marvin Jones, Chase Claypool. And you know what's crazy? I think I would replace him with Marvin Jones because Chase Claypool, that offense in Pittsburgh has not looked good. Denver's defense has been looking pretty solid this year. Samaje Perine, I heard if Mixon is out, that it'll be a bit of a timeshare with Perine. So with Perine and another running back in Cincinnati. So I don't really love that. I'm not sure about the status of Alex Collins, and I probably won't know in time what Joe Mixon's status is to put Alex Collins into the lineup if I wanted to. Miles Sanders has been so inconsistent. I just don't love that. Mike Davis, he's kind of scaring me. I'd probably just end up moving Jonathan Taylor to the running back spot if Joe Mixon doesn't play, and then putting Marvin Jones into that flex. So that's probably what I would end up doing. But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for this video. We recapped all 4 of our leagues. We talked a lot about replacing Calvin Ridley in this video. We also had to deal with replacing David Montgomery. So those are a couple of the big key topics we discussed in this video. So hopefully you guys are able to deal with those situations in any situation that you were going through. And thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.